Scot Gladstone here with Angel Mendoza, newly signed catcher for the Glacier Range Riders. Angel, first of all, so excited to have you here and playing in Glacier next year. Definitely a recipe of taking somebody, and a big reason why the Range Riders struggled in the championship series was because of your catching, both just how you call a game behind the plate, how you made sure to keep some of the best pitchers in the league that pitched for YOLO last year doing what they do, but at the same time, either the threat of running against you or actually running against you and getting caught killed a lot of momentum for the Range Riders throughout that series, and obviously against YOLO throughout last season. Before we talk about your time with the High Wheelers and your time in the Pioneer League and what you look forward to for the Range Riders, let's go back to the start of it all. For you, what's your baseball journey been like? How did it start? How'd you get into the game?
Oh, crazy part. Crazy story. So growing up, I had two brothers, one older sister. I'm the youngest of them all. They both played baseball, so I was never really involved. I'm a little guy, and then one day they're throwing outside, and they're like, "I don't want to catch you, man. You're throwing way too fast." And I like, little guy like me, hey, I want to join.
You guys got a spot? Yeah.
And then from there, just hopped right into it, and just took off from there. Just blessed to have the support that I have back home, and all the family, my brothers. Helped me get better, become the guy who I am today, and just blessed for that. Excited too.
So it was just from the start. It was catching, just because neither of your brothers wanted to do it.
None of them wanted to do it. I mean, growing up too, I played a little bit of short, a little bit of third, but
yeah.
At the end of the day, they're like, "Yo, we want you behind the plate," and it's like, "All right, I'll do it." No one else wanted to catch, and I guess just the mindset of me was, "Hey, I'll be the catcher. I'll do it. I'll step up."
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, and I'll say it on the broadcast plenty. I always do, because it's kind of like a goalie in soccer or hockey, something like that. Being a catcher, you got to have a little bit of a screw loose, because the ball's getting thrown 100 miles per hour at you. At what point did it click that, like, this is kind of a crazy thing to do, but I kind of love it?
I want to say college, when I got into JUCO.
Yeah.
So my first 2 years in JUCO, was blessed to be able to play right after high school, and my coaches too were just well taught. They were around the guys, and the way when they taught us, it was like, "Hey, we're getting you ready for pro ball," and that's what it felt like. When you go to a Division I program, you're like, "Hey, you know what pro ball is already," but like, just being around that. What was the question again?
When it clicked that you had a screw loose and could catch.
Yeah. So in JUCO, guys throwing at me. That's when I actually seen people like throwing in the 90s. And I was like, okay. And there was 8 catchers in my freshman year. And, just you had to battle it out. The best one's going to play. And just worked my butt off. And that's when I was like, whoa, I'm kind of crazy for coming here early, trying to be the first one here, the last one to leave.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, you just got to have a different mentality. And it's like, then that's when I realized, like, yeah, I'm a little crazy.
Yeah.
Just stepping behind the plate, getting balls right here to my face, off my legs, off my arms. But, it's the job you signed up for.
Yeah. I remember we had a catcher last year that, I just walked in the breakfast room, and he just had like this giant welt on his leg, and everybody else was walking into, and they're like, "What is that? That's disgusting. What? Are you okay?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, it's just part of the job." Yeah. Yeah.
Just got hit with the ball. It's all right.
The path to the Pioneer League, to professional ball, whatever, it's all over the place. Like, everybody has kind of a different path. For you, obviously, you started with that JUCO route. What made you kind of fall on the JUCO route, and how is that kind of the first step after prep ball?
Yeah. So out of high school, I never really had D1 offers. Never had D2 offers. Nothing. It was all just strictly junior college. Yeah. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't play in college. Maybe it's time to just hang him up, become a Marine. And the next thing you know, my catching coach, I was getting catching lessons. My senior year, he ended up being the catching coach for the next year in JUCO. And he was like, "Hey, why don't you just come over here? You're working with me. You're working with the guys that are coming too." And I was like, "All right, cool. I already know the guys. I already know the catching coach. We're all similar. We're all familiar with each other." And just took off from there. Just chose chose that JUCO route, and just like I said, just worked my butt off, and just got to where I am now.
And after that JUCO level, obviously that's kind of another crux. Just like you talk about when you're like, oh, maybe it's ball game over. When things started to click at the JUCO level, what point did you start realizing, hey, I can keep this going, play a little bit longer, and start listening to offers after that?
Yeah, after fall ball, after a freshman year of fall ball, we go back during the break, for winter. So we're there, and I'm just grinding. And that's the JUCO. When you're in JUCO, all you do is you grind, and that's when you become gritty, and that's where you learn how to like have more of a mentality of like, hey, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
And you have guys fortunate enough to come back down to our JUCO, previous MLB. Big league guys, D1 guys are coming back down, getting their work in. And seeing that kind of pushed you a little bit. And then my catching coach was like, hey, I want you to meet someone. Met him, and he was like, hey, this is going to be our starter. And I was like, whoa, what? I'm the starter? Like, what?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah. And I was like, oh.
Out of the eight catchers you came in with.
Out of the 8 catchers, it was me and one of my boys, and we just split time and, just grinding with each other. It was the best time.
Obviously, eventually you get to the MLB Draft League, which, it's so interesting to talk about COVID and how the limiting of minor league teams, the limiting of the draft, everything affects pro ball, and that ripple effect affected the draft league because the draft league was created there. We've had a lot of different players for the Range Riders, but also throughout the Pioneer League that have come from the draft league. Explain what it's like in the draft league, because it's kind of like it's a very professional mentality in a lot of sense, but it's also technically kind of still amateur. How was that experience, again, to just realize, hey, maybe I'm cut out for this? Like, let's see if I can keep it going from here.
Well, I was actually in the draft league for the whole summer, so I was there the first half and the second half. So being in the first half, I was around a lot of college guys.
Yep.
And, just some dudes that were just dudes. They ended up getting picked up and drafted, and I was like, whoa. And they're like, hey, why aren't you getting signed? I don't know. But, just being around those guys. And then the second half came, and it was like, that's when the pro guys came. And it was like, whoa, like, okay, like, you're getting paid to play, and it's like, you want more. Like, you're hungry for more. And that's when, like, the pro ball side actually, like, kicked in. It was like, okay, it's professional, but you want more. You're in good stadiums, big stadiums, AAA, old ones.
Yep.
And the surfaces are nice. Like, I'm here catching it, and I'm just like, whoa. Like, just blessed to be just to play there. And it's like, it's amazing.
The transition from college to professional, it affects like everybody, every position. Obviously, pitchers pitch a little bit more often, especially relief guys. But catchers, I think that's the biggest thing, where it's like when you're playing 6 days a week, like you do in the Pioneer League, you either make or break it. For you, when you got to the draft league, which was maybe your first like experience with that, with playing as much as you do at a professional level, kind of how did you get through those early struggles, just from a body perspective of keeping yourself healthy and keeping yourself able to play?
Just going back to my JUCO days, when you're there grinding, you're there getting gritty, you have to take care of your body, and that's when, you're grinding probably half of the day in JUCO, and then you take care of your body, next day back to it. And that kind of prepped me for pro ball, and I was like, okay, got to go back to my JUCO routes, get gritty with it. If I want to play, I want to keep playing this game as long as I can. I got to take care of my body, and I just got to have the mentality of, hey, I'm going to get after it every day.
And then we get to last year, 2024. You signed for a team that did you sign for them when they existed, or had they existed yet? Like, had they been announced? I should say.
I actually signed pretty late.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was supposed to play in Mexico, and then contract fell through, and I was like, man, where am I going to play?
Yeah.
And I was reached out to the coaches, and then Billy Horton had hit me up, and he was like, hey, this is YOLO. And I was like, okay. Didn't know what YOLO was, so
yeah.
And I was like, yo, who's all going there? And at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I don't even care who's going there. I'm being able to play. Like I'm getting another opportunity to play, and it's like I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you already mentioned the kind of the JUCO grind, and to me, um, with it seems like a lot of kind of the setup that happened at YOLO. You guys were like an incredibly talented team. Obviously, Billy Horton's a two-time manager of the year in the league, but at the same time, it was announced in January, and a lot of kind of obstacles in your guys' way. How'd you approach a situation like that where you're sharing a field with the college and you know you're having to travel to and from the locker room every day, but you guys, rather than kind of sulk in it, you guys just embraced it and became teammates. How did that all happen with the High Wheelers last year?
Yeah, I mean, we either had two routes to go. One, just be like, man, I give up. This is terrible. Or one, like, hey, we're still playing baseball. We're still on a baseball field. There's still first base, second base, third base. You know, it's the same thing. There's two foul poles. There's a fence, 90 feet bases. Nothing changes, you know. And then that's when everyone clicked, and it was like, hey, yeah, we're going through all this, backs to the wall. But you know what? We're going to overcome it. We'll play for each other. You know, just that's how we did it.
And take me through that moment. Obviously, a pretty bitter moment for me, but a pretty sweet moment for you guys. You guys win the championship on a walk-off. It's a moment I still haven't revisited that much in my head, but for you being able to come out on top, inaugural franchise, a bunch of guys that had never played pro ball before or draft league was basically the only experience. And obviously you go through probably two of the more hostile environments that you'll play in the league, in Oakland first in the playoffs, which is also a rival of you guys, and then all the travel craziness to get here, get home, and be able to win that championship. There's so much that happened in that championship series for both the Range Riders and the High Wheelers. How just take me through those moments when that home run happens and you go, oh, I can't believe we're on top.
I think I can speak for everyone on the team. That was everyone else's reaction. Everyone was just like, no way. We saw that ball hit. We're like what?
Yeah.
Like, we knew when it was hit, like, it's going to be gone, but it was just a matter of if it's going to be fair or foul, and it ended up hitting the top of the foul pole, and everyone was just like,
yeah,
no way. Like, you can look at the video, back at the video, everyone's hands on their head, like, they're in shock, like, oh my gosh, like, we just won the whole thing.
Yeah. What was it? What did you want to bring to a team to help them win a championship? Because obviously a league like this, it's individual and it's team. You got to balance both, because obviously the end goal is to be able to get signed to an affiliated contract, make the run at the big show. But at the end of the day, the best way to do that and get on people's radar is to win games. So what did you want to bring to a team when you were playing for YOLO last year?
I just wanted to take care of a pitching staff, you know, having new guys come in and some familiar faces that I've seen in the draft league. It was just like, hey, we're going to click. This is our team. Yeah, we're playing at this field. These are our conditions. But you're going to be a dog, and I'll be a dog for you, and let's just get after it. And, you know, that's what I brought to the table, just right there, and blessed to win a championship through it.
Top runners caught stealing percentage in the league last year. At what point did it even kind of feel new to you or register that, hey, now I'm doing this at an even higher level? Or is that just kind of what you always done? You just kept on, you know, just kept on catching guys when they were trying to steal on you?
I feel like that was just always me, you know, just blessed, and that's it. And, you know, just see a guy running, just try to throw him out. But at the end of the day, try not to think about it. Don't really look at numbers too much for the catching aspect of it. And it's just like, I'm going to be out there, do my best, and just do what I can do, play my game.
And now let's turn the page. 2025. Luckily, we're able to have you here playing for us and catching other runners instead of catching the Range Riders runners this year. Talk about how you got linked up with the Glacier Range Riders and why you made the decision to come here.
Yeah, so the pitching coach, Glennon Brush, he's the new pitching coach this upcoming season. I was actually fortunate enough to coach alongside with him. I was the catching coach when he was the pitching coach at Indiana University Southeast.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I found out he was the pitching coach, and their head coach had reached out. He's like, hey, this is what's happening. Are you interested? And I was like, I mean, it's the Range Riders, you know, like beat these guys in the championship. Yeah, I'm pretty interested, you know, and looking at the coaching staff too, they have here. You got Stu Peterson, you got Todd Pratt, you got all these guys, and it's just like they have big league time. And one of the best hitting coaches you have, and that's where you want to be. You want to be at a place that has all those resources, and it's just probably one of the best facilities that's out here. So.
Yeah, I mean, talk about having a manager that's a catcher, because, you know, talk about, already mentioned kind of catchers are a little bit of a different breed, but Todd Pratt, I mean, he played alongside Mike Piazza. Obviously, he's had a ton of insane moments himself at the major league level. To be able to have a guy that's been there, that's been at the top, that's going to be teaching you this next season, what are you looking to kind of learn from somebody like that with that experience?
Just be a sponge, just soak everything in. You know, hitting coach telling me something, pitching coach telling me something, head coach telling me something. Just be a sponge at the end of the day. You want to soak as much knowledge as you can in, and that's what I try to do, and use that, put that in my game.
Obviously, the last question, but obviously last year the fans were against you when you come in here. It's a championship. It's a great atmosphere. How excited are you to have the Flathead faithful cheering you on here in the Flathead Valley? You mentioned this is one of the best facilities in the league, and I think we got the best fans in the league. How excited are you to kind of have that environment, especially JUCO level? Sometimes you're playing in you know, a city park essentially with 5 people there. To be at this level, possibly make a run at another championship, and to have, you know, over 5,000 people some nights cheering you on.
Just, you know, we walked in and it was just like, whoa, wow, like, okay. It's pretty awesome, you know. You're like just blessed to be here, and then you know, the fans were there, and we're like, whoa, okay, these are some fans. And it's like this is a playoff game now, and you know, just seeing all those fans, you know, some fans chirping you too when you're on deck, when you're catching. It's like, wow, at least they're not going to chirp me now, you know. Well, if I don't do good, they'll probably chirp me, but hopefully they don't.
I'm sure with the amount of guys you're going to catch stealing there, you'll be just fine. Awesome, Angel. Thank you very much. Look forward to watching you play 2025.
Thank you.